how do you get yourself to actually go to therapy? Like, okay, I have a problem, and how big should the problem be, in fact?
Yeah, that's a good question. And at the same time, if I'm like super excited and hyperactive and all over, people are gonna be like, she's super cringe, I'm gonna shut this down.
What has been the one biggest problem that most people are struggling with?
How they talk to one another.
Really? That basic?
Yeah, communication is the ultimate problem. Confidence is like a pizza. Everything needs to be there for it to be a pizza. Even if one of it is out, your confidence kind of steps down.
Can you tell our audiences what actually that means? Because they don't know what image means and then what image management means. When they say fake confidence till you have it, is that true?
It's faith it till you make it. I'm not scared. Who said I'm scared? Very scared. It's okay to say you're scared.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Aleena Dissects. Today is a very special episode because it's with one of my favorite people. What we're doing today is basically decoding something that we've not done before. I know I've done a lot of like media, marketing and branding, all of those kind of topics, but we've never covered something that is more personal. And that's what I'm going to do today with my guest Benaisha, who I'm a big fan of.
Thank you, Aleena.
Thank you for being here. So
Pleasure
nice
is
that you're
mine.
here. And I'm glad that now we're doing this with mics and cameras, what we do behind the scenes. So how are you feeling today?
Wonderful. Absolutely
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Okay, so Benaisha, I'm going to ask you a lot of different things, but things that
Sure.
you haven't maybe spoken about and something that's going to help our audiences throughout.
Sure.
Okay, so you are one of the youngest image management coaches, right? I want you to take us through how did you figure that out at that age?
I'll just make a public correction here that I would have loved to still be the youngest, but as age and time,
Of course.
I'm not the youngest anymore. But yeah, I've actually, but I'm still the youngest, and the first master image consultant in India. So that's been really good. And, I actually didn't know I wanted to be this very specific career, such as I didn't even know such a career really exists, to be truthful. I knew that I wanted to integrate something with the mind and the body.
Okay.
And image management, the details or the characteristics of the profession just came to me very naturally. So it was very like, I would just tell my mom or my sister or of course myself and, a bunch of others like, okay, this looks good on you and that is something you should do. And how about, like body language like this or communication like this. And, it was just a very natural flair to me at that given point of time. And when my mom really read about the career when it came to India a couple of years ago, that's when she's like, this is it, take this on, and this is something that you can integrate with already what you were studying, with what I was studying. And that was sociology and psychology. So it just was a very natural fit because it's more about the way you look affects the way you think. And that marriage is something that today is my career.
How fun. But can you tell our audiences what actually that means? Because they don't know what image means and then what image management means.
Right. So image is you in the eyes and minds of people.
Okay.
Right. It is what other people think of you. It's most fondly called as first impressions. Right. So that is image. And managing that image is image management, the art and science of it. And what I mean by that is clothing is just one of the tools that helps you to produce and package that image very well. But say, for example, today, if I'm just well dressed and I speak, that's pretty sad, or my gestures are just like all over, they're nasty, it's going to be a half impact. Right? Like, for example, we're doing this podcast, but the sound is off. But what we're speaking is great, but, the lighting is not there. So it's pretty much half there. It's like we're trying really hard to say that, no, but we're good at what we do. But no one's going to hear it because it's not packaged well. So image management is basically the packaging of who you are, your attributes, your personality, in a very cohesive format of being authentic and attractive. Authentic to who you are and being attractive to, of course, everybody around you.
And why is that important?
Say, for example, today you go to a supermarket, right? And there are like so many products right there. And you're like, okay, soap is a soap. Let me just pick up anything and go. That's one type of a person. And then you have several others who are like, oh, I saw the ad of so-and-so brand, and, like Dove is for real women, or, real people. And then you have Lux, which is beauty, and, all of that, right? So everyone has its own packaging. And you essentially go for that particular attractive packaging. And then you go back home and you start using it, and that becomes, a brand that you like or you dislike eventually. So that very first pickup happens only because of the packaging.
Okay.
So similarly, as human beings, today if I have to transcend that example, if there are so many people who give the same examination, and then there are so many people who go for a similar interview, right? You have so many outside waiting for just one job position. What makes us different? Our image makes us different. So all of us can be well dressed, but it's how then we package ourselves. Or sometimes people are really good at what they do, but they're not really well dressed. So when they just walk in, the interview is like, oh my God, he's such a waste of time. That's a very inherent trait of ours. It's not a nice thing to do, but it's a very inherent trait of us that we land up judging, we land up assessing if somebody is worth our time or not just by their packaging, their external appearance.
Right.
And over a period of time with so many stimulus around us, earlier it used to take 10 seconds to form an impression. Then it started taking 5 seconds. As of the latest study, it's been 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's been crazy, right? Like today you see a reel and you're like, no.
In 3 seconds, yes.
You're literally like scrolling through it. So
Yeah.
that's how you're seeing people as well. Like today, when people stay onto your post or your reel, it's really important how you're speaking on that, that 10 second, 3 second, 20 second or whatever reel that you do have.
Yes.
And people are like, sometimes I go through comments of people like, focus on what the person is saying, but no, they're
Not
focusing
how
on
they're
like,
looking.
oh, you have some static hair behind, or
I get that a lot. Like I've got a comment saying you have dark circles, but I actually don't even have them. So it probably was the light. And I was like, but I'm talking about marketing. I'm not talking about how to put a concealer. So you shouldn't be worried about that.
Absolutely, but it's not just about vanity. I guess it's where we live in a world that's so packaged, that's highly marketed, that's highly packaged, that's highly presented out, and for good reason and bad reason.
But how do you decide whether you want to conform to that? So there's this question in my mind about image management since the beginning, because I've met a lot of people who are like, I don't care. I don't care about what other people are going to see or how they perceive me.
Sure.
I'm going to be myself and go ahead with that. And they propagate it. Like they will go out and say that you should be your authentic self, whether you want to wear one single t-shirt every day, which is also what a Mark Zuckerberg and all of these people do, right? So then where do you draw the line, whether that's what you should do or whether you should be presentable for other people?
Good question. So let's talk about the first part of your question, which was there are types and types of people, right? So there is one personality that says, you know what, I really don't care, and I'm just gonna wear what I do what I like. That's fine.
Okay.
Image management does not say that you have to follow the book.
Okay.
Image management does not say that everyone who works in banking and finance has to wear a suit.
Okay.
And a teacher has to always wear a salwar kameez because that's what people did back in the day and that's what we know. Nothing like that. Okay. Image management says that you need to be authentic. And it would be nice if you were attractive. Okay. Right? Now, attraction is very relative.
Correct.
Today, what I'm wearing can be attractive to you and it could be not attractive to somebody else watching this.
True.
Right? So that's absolutely relative.
Okay.
But all I'm here trying to say is that if I'm coming here for your podcast and I've rocked up in like some really, like pajamas or something, it's a disrespect to you.
Okay.
Why is it a disrespect to you? Is because, number one, we're in a relatively formal setup. You've taken the effort to invite me right here. You see some value in what I might have to say. And of course you value your audience, which is why you've taken up the pains to really do it in a really lovely place like this. It's not like you've just put on a mic and said, hey, let's just do this, we're on my bed.
People do that.
That's also fine. You
Okay.
do that. If you have an audience for that, that's fine. You are wanting to give a different respect to your audience. And this is what you've come up. This is authentic to you. Right? And now I can come up in my pajamas and say, this is me and this is take it or leave it. But then how does it really set the conversation? How does it really set the audience? How does it really set the mood? How does it really set the vibe of how we're communicating on it?
True.
Like it just becomes like, yeah, I'm just chill, I'm gonna sit like this. Like, how cool is that? I'm sorry. Like, I can just, put my legs up and sit however.
Yeah.
If that's authentic to you, good, cool.
Okay.
Do that.
Okay.
Right? But if you're just doing it to be rebellious, then that's just that just doesn't make sense. Now, talking about Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, or the likes of it, I want to ask you a question. Do you know what?
They do that because they have decision paralysis, it's called. They don't want to spend time deciding what they're going to wear because they have better decisions to take in life.
Fair enough. But that comes at a later stage, after we make them Mark Zuckerberg and we make them Steve Jobs by being consumers, right?
Okay.
Till then, they don't have to make any decisions because they're just starting up like every other startup,
Okay.
right? So, fun fact here, which is Steve Jobs actually had 2 suits that he wore at every pitch meet before we even knew about Steve Jobs. So in his autobiography, he actually does write on how when he went for funding door to door, garage to garage of people, he did have a suit that he changed into. He said, yeah, first it was really uncomfortable to wear so, but then I realized that no one was taking me seriously. And which is why it was really important that I spoke their language so they understood my thoughts. And that's really important. Today, if you want to sell a product, you integrate yourself to your audience and then you be who you want to be.
Okay.
So till you reach that point, you mingle with the system. When you've created the system and you've become the system, you do what you want. Like Justin Bieber showed up in...
Yeah.
I
saw. I
That's
was like,
fine.
what
Now
is
he's the system.
But I don't think that's fine.
Well, see, why do you not think that's fine?
It's again disrespectful, like you said. We've
Exactly.
called you, we've paid you like this much amount of money, and then your pants are half down. So that looked really funny.
Yeah, but that's cool. In his world, in his ideology, that's authentic to him. So see, while we all may have various opinions of it, right? Agreeing and understanding are 2 different things that I always tell my clients. I don't understand why he did what he did, but I accept it.
Yeah.
That's him.
Okay.
Cool. That's okay with.
Okay.
I'm not always going to understand. So I think that happens with dressing as well. Like some people say that, but why does she always have to show her cleavage? If she's confident, if she's
Her choice.
okay with it, that's fine. If it's disrupting you and your vision, you need to control that, and that's in your control. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
Right? So but at the same time, if a girl is going to purposely in a scenario, like for example, if she's working, if she's working in an environment, like say for example, if she's an architect, okay, now you're working with so many karigars around, you're working with so many workers around, and if you're an architect, wear full pants. You're wearing a short dress and they are half the time down. I mean, they don't want to look at you, but your legs are right in their face. Right? So that may be just uncalled for. That may be, you need to really think about it. I'm not saying don't wear it. But then again comes that point where that's what image talks about, is being appropriate. Appropriate for the audience, appropriate for who, where, when, why, how, all of that. So it does not restrict you to wear or not wear. It's just saying that just fit it into the right spaces. Like wear things like this when you're out with your friends. Wear it with people who understand the sentiment.
Got it.
there is no need to rebel. Like I've seen a lot of people who rebel, with their parents
They do.
when
Why
they're
can't
going,
I wear this?
why can't I
Why
wear
can't I
this?
wear
Why can't I wear that? They're not saying not to wear it, but they're saying how to wear it. Like if something doesn't fit you, or you're wearing a size smaller, pick a size big. It's not like large sizes cannot wear shorts. Just pick a large size. Don't pick a medium because it's cool like that.
Yeah.
So I think those are some of the arguments that do come about. And personally for me, I've worked with clients of all different shapes and sizes and color. And I have never been of the opinion that they need to be stereotyped into boxes. That, there's a saying, right? Brown girls can't wear brown. That's not true. Of course they can. They can wear various colors. Everyone can wear every kind of color. But where to put it, how much to wear of it, how to represent it, it's like an art form.
Yes.
You can't use too much of the same color all throughout the canvas. It becomes overbearing. So it's just about that. So I feel like it's a mark of respect, dressing well. It's not about vanity.
Interesting. Now I have a question on the other side of it. You're an image coach. If I come to you and I be like, okay, but I will feel inside that maybe you're going to judge me because what you're doing essentially is not right in the place of where I'm at. So is that something that you have faced before where everybody is like, I don't know if I'm comfortable to do this because it's not okay?
So I'll speak for myself. Personally, I started when I was very, very young. And I started working with a lot of older people while I was young. And today, while I'm relatively older, I work with younger people as well. So I've understood the dichotomy of, age, understanding and acceptance. So when I was younger, the older ones used to be like, she's going to judge me because she's going to think that I'm not cool as her. Now when I'm older, the younger ones are like, what is she going to tell me because she's older? So like, this is a funny thing. But, and through this understanding, I have tried to keep my attire, my social media, or my website for that matter, all very approachable looking. Because that's me as a person. I'm not someone who like botches up or like is intimidating or uptight as a person. I'm relatively more relaxed, because I get intimidated as well. So I don't want to do that to somebody. There have been very few instances wherein a client has told me that, listen, don't judge me, okay? And then started the conversation. I often have this statement when I'm doing therapy with people. They'll be like, okay, so I'm here going to tell you stuff about me now. Don't judge me.
But that's natural.
That's very natural. That is absolutely natural. So I try to, as much as my facial features allow it, and genuinity from my heart and my vocabulary, try to tell them that, look, you're here because I believe you trust me. And I agree to that trust because I have been in your place before. The reason I became an image consultant and a therapist is because I needed both in my life.
Oh, okay.
And I operate from a way of empathy rather than from a sympathy. When you operate from sympathy, you're like, God, poor thing, she needs help. Right. But when you work from a place of empathy, you're like, I get you. I've been there too. So when I have a young girl who's telling me, I'm going to go to college and I really have nothing to wear and I don't know what to do for my interview, I'm like, cool, we'll figure it out. I don't tell her, don't worry, I've got you. I'll say, relax. I mean, it's fine. We'll figure it out. It's pretty natural to be lost, So using vocabulary, using facial expressions, helping them learn rather than just dictating is something that I choose to conduct my consultations rather than saying, I think you should do this. Maybe, and this is not something that I instantly got. It's something that came through a lot of practice and working with a lot of people. Right. I guess the way I was earlier taught at some point, or maybe I imbibed, not necessarily taught in school or at my institute, but I just felt that at the start, because I was working with so many older people, they just liked the lingo. ये करना है, वो करना है, ये करना है, वो करना है. So I also started talking like that. You should do this and you should do that. But I realized that that wasn't very authentic to me because I don't like the sound of you should do this and you should do. I find it very irritating when somebody tells me you should do this. I'm like, no way, I'm not going to do it if you're going to tell me you should do it. So I recognized that about myself, and that's when I changed. And I started being a lot more suggestive to my clients, saying that I think it would be nice if you chose this color. I think it would be nice if you tried on this. So I feel like that kind of breaks the ice and makes them comfortable.
And at what point do you know that you probably need an image coach or consultant? Because I would understand a lot of people need it, but then they won't know what to do about it. Like even if they think that, okay, like maybe I can dress better, or they don't even know that there's something called a life coach, or that they can approach somebody that can help them in that aspect of life. So how do you know?
Today I think any problem in your life, there is a career for it. There is somebody for it.
Okay.
Legitly. Like somebody is thinking about something which is your problem.
Okay.
And so that's one aspect. But the truest form, I would say that the simplest way would be if you open your closet and if you feel like you have nothing to wear, or you're overwhelmed with what you're wearing.
Okay.
Or you find yourself looking at yourself in the mirror and you're like, dude, what has happened to me? I've just let myself go. I just don't feel good about who I am, how I'm looking. That's when you need to call me. Because clothing plays a great and a strong impact on how you're feeling.
Yeah.
There are so many people who come to me, Aleena, by saying, I need a wardrobe manager, and then I kind of figure it out that they actually also need a therapist.
Really?
Yeah.
There's an overlap.
There's a big overlap, is because we always are camouflaging in this whole thing of, chalo ye khareed lete hai, my mood will be good. Chalo wo khareed lete hai. Yeah, it's like all impulse buy. Everyone's just going shopping on a bad, crappy day. Great for retail, and I'm not saying don't do that. But where do you really stop? A lot of times I've been with clients and they've bought stuff that they don't need.
Yeah. Sometimes if it's looking good, you'll buy it and then you'll be like, oh, but this doesn't look good on me. Or maybe this is not appropriate for me.
Like I had a client recently and, she just texted me saying that I wanted to buy a branded bag. So should I buy it? And I said, why? Like, why? Just I thought I should buy it. Should I buy it? And she sent me a few options, but she's really not that person.
Okay.
Her whole persona and aura does not amalgate with of that particular luxury brand that she was looking for. And then I asked her a few questions. I said, so where are you going to wear it? What do you plan on doing with it?
Okay.
And how often do you see yourself wear it? And then I spoke to her about, when people buy, like, say, a Louis Vuitton bag or a Gucci bag or a Prada bag, and then you're dressed up with, like, a jeans and a t-shirt and chappals, and, you're carrying, like, a 2 lakh rupee bag, but your entire outfit is just basic. Then it just doesn't match. It just does not, it's not a cohesive looking format.
Got it.
And the simple reason is just because of its textures and colors and
and because of brand
is still there, but like I feel like today if you're wearing like casual looking clothes, try to take on a bag that has the sensibility of casualness with it. And then at the same time, I see a lot of young girls who are in their early 20s are carrying 2.5 lakh rupee bags. And I'm like, it's not matching. You're taking it to college, for God's sake.
They do, but...
Yes, but they do. But it's not really working. It's not working with the authenticity of it.
Okay.
Because that's a bag your mother should be carrying, and not just because it's expensive, just because of the colors, the shape, the size, all of that.
And do you think this is something that is subconsciously like coming to us? Like, okay, this is what I am supposed to do. We don't put so much thought into. our image and what should we wear and what should we buy, all of these things?
Yeah, so, some people inherently have a good knack, and some people struggle
Yes.
with it. And some people think they have a good knack, which is funny, but it's cute. I mean, so I think wherein over here, what happens is that if today you are constantly receiving a lot of compliments from your friends and family around, like, oh my God, that looks so good on you, you've dressed up so well, you get that confidence quite often. But if supposing you inherently have like low self-esteem, you're not happy with the way you look, you're not happy with your body, you think that, okay, I'm fat, I'm short, I'm too tall, I'm dark, I'm freckle skin, or whatever it is, and you're constantly thinking about that, no matter how good you even do dress, people may not, you may not appreciate what people are telling you. Even if they're complimenting you and saying, oh, you look good, like, yeah, really, I don't think so,
Yeah.
So that also, an image consultant can really help you out to build that self-esteem, to build a positive body image.
Right.
Because it's not just about looking good, it's also about feeling good on the inside. It's about channelizing that confident aura. People come and say, I want to build my confidence. But confidence, I call it like this, confidence is like a pizza. Okay? What all do you need for a pizza to be made?
The dough, the bread, the paste.
Yeah,
the
vegetables.
vegetable, cheese.
Correct, right? Now, say for example, I just put cheese, veggies in a bowl and I give it to you.
That's not pizza.
What is that?
Salad.
Correct, right? So it's a whole different product altogether. What I'm trying to get at is that confidence is like a pizza. Everything needs to be there for it to be a pizza.
Right.
Even if one of it is out, your confidence kind of steps down. So, for example, what builds a confidence? Your image, which has the clothing, the body language, the communication, the emotional quotient, all of these happening together at that very opportunistic time to showcase it is confidence. Like today, for example, I'm sitting in front of you and I'm sitting like this. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Okay. I may have all the knowledge of what you're asking me. But if I'm going to be a sloppy Joe like this, you're going to lose interest. You're like, okay, let's wrap it up. Or someone's going to just shut down this video. So, and at the same time, if I'm like super excited and hyperactive and all over, people are going to be like, she's super cringe. I'm going to shut this down. Too much of everything and nothing of everything is also, like, there needs to be a good amount of balance. And that balance only comes through practicing these things together at the same time.
And when they say fake confidence till you have it, is that true?
I don't think so. The only thing you should fake it, not fake anything. I have, there's this lady who said this many years ago. It's faith it till you make it.
Okay.
Not fake it till you make it.
So you can't fake confidence. Like if you're not feeling it, then also
you won't be able to sustain it. You can do it.
Right.
You can do it once. You can do it twice. You'll get tired after that. How much will you do it? It's like wanting to be rich every day. You can't if you're not. Right? Like every day, if I want to order from out, after a point, I will be broke.
But remember, they say that, even if you are not rich, for example, you keep believing and thinking that there is abundance of it, and then it eventually comes.
But not just on your bed, na. You have to get out and do some work.
Of course.
But that people miss out on that. That bus बैठे रहो.
Now you can't keep manifesting it and it'll appear. No, of course you have to do the work for it.
That is very true. So I think, faking it till you make it is okay. It's good to push yourself to like say, come on, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. That's not faking it. That's positively motivating yourself. That's okay. Faking it comes to a point, I've noticed people when they are like pretending to be a whole different personality.
Different. No, that's different.
And or like if I have something, if I have different feelings towards you, as a colleague or something, I'm trying to be nice.
That's pretending.
That's pretending because it doesn't sustain you after some time. It blows you up.
Right. Because, for example, if I had stage fright for the longest time and I really had to fake confidence because I was like, I kept telling myself, no, I'm going to do it. I'm the best speaker. And then that would give me a little bit confidence to be better than being very nervous on stage.
Sure. So I would say that you positively motivated yourself.
Okay.
I don't think you faked it, because you faking it would be like, that's fake. Like, yeah, I'm confident. I'm really confident. And then you were aware of what you were doing. So you took a conscious decision to push yourself forward, to motivate yourself, and that is fine. Faking it would be just pretending like you know it all, and then actually you really don't.
Okay. If somebody is starting out, where should they start? Should they try to do this by themselves, or should they take help from a professional right from the beginning?
Look, there are some people who put their hands up and say, you know what, I don't know anything about it. I'm just going to get a professional straight up there.
Okay.
That works for them.
Okay.
I often tell my clients that if at all, you kind of see your wardrobe, you see your lifestyle, you see what's working, what's not working, you are aware of what's not working, you will give me better information to work with you. So if they try something by themselves and it bombs, and then they come to me, they have more faith in me than in themselves, because they know that they've tried everything and now they surrender. But the other person is surrendering to me, but then sometimes what happens is that if I give a suggestion, they'll be like, no, but that I've tried, it doesn't work. So,
But I have a great example of this. When I reached out to you, where I was in a place where, okay, maybe I know how to dress, but maybe Benaisha can make it better. That's where I came to you. And I remember the first thing you said is you asked me how I wanted to be perceived.
Yes.
And then you made whatever you did was after knowing me. So if I would have given you a different answer of how I want to be perceived, maybe I would have told you,
different.
No, I want to be very casual. Then you would have told me to wear t-shirts. But I remember you telling me not to wear t-shirts, because one of the adjectives that you asked me to give was that I want to be felt important, because I feel important. I want other people also to take me in that way, and then you design that structure accordingly.
And see, it was for a very specific area of your life.
Yeah, work life.
Right.
Yeah.
It was work life,
Yes.
right? So when people tell me I want to look powerful, I want to look credible, I'm at a particular position and stature, then of course, we kind of work in that direction. There are people who tell me that my work does not require me to look, any of these things. I don't need to be like,
maybe
powerful,
it's a fun startup
whatever
job that they're doing.
Yeah, it could be anything. So I think work again is stereotyped.
Okay.
It's very relative. Like, for example, you being a media personality, have a very different sensibility of work versus someone in like the banking or finance, or in any of those, or a lawyer or a doctor. So I think work and those recommendations also are very different. And casual also is very different. Like you're hanging out with your friends, where? At home, outside, at a dinner, what kind of dinner? So it's a little too in-depth that you kind of narrow down.
And then you have to make it people specific. Like it really depends on the person, what they're looking to do. Yeah. Got it. And now coming a little bit to your overlapping journey, how does this I know you do both. You are a therapist and a counselor, and then you're a master image consultant. How do they go hand in hand?
They do, because your like I said, the way you look affects the way you feel. So there are clients who come to me individually for just individually, just as a therapy session or just as image. Now there are a lot that do come overlapping as well. So, like I said, that when somebody comes to me and says, I'm very low on confidence, I don't feel really good about myself, I'm not valued at home, I have many relationship issues with my friends or family or work people and all of it. I try to kind of assess as to what is it that they're putting and packaging themselves out as.
Okay.
And in such a scenario, clothing becomes one tool, just one small tool that helps them elevate their packaging, their persona, and how they are looking to the outside world.
Right.
It gives them that little bit of confidence, a little bit of factor. So I would kind of replicate that fake it till you make it with this formula of saying that, okay, you're not feeling that good, but I don't immediately say, okay, start wearing this and you'll feel good. Of course not. So we I work on their belief systems. What is it that you believe about yourself? Like currently I'm working with a client wherein she believes that she just doesn't look good no matter what she wears. She never compliments her looks to say, and she's a pretty looking girl. She'll look at herself and she'll be like, you know what, I'm fat. She's not.
Now that is an internal problem.
Exactly. So obviously you got to first deal with the internal problem.
Okay.
And use the external clothing to prove that the internal problem is just in your mind. Now, for example, she's saying, I'm looking fat, I look ugly. So I said, come, let's go. Took her to a shop, made her try on something. I said, you pick what you like and I'll pick what I like for you.
Okay.
We both went to the same store, picked up 2 different things, and I made her try. I said, why do you like this? She said, you know, it's black, it will cover me, it will camouflage me, I won't look fat. I said, brilliant. Will you wear what I'm showing you? No, never. I'll never wear this red colored dress. I said, okay, chalo, let's wear it.
Okay.
Right? Made her, no, so it wasn't red, it was blue and white. She's like, it's too large and loud a print, and I'm not really sure about it. I said, come on, wear it. She wore it, and she came out, and she looked at me and she said, looks good or what? You like it? I said, I love it. What do you think? Yeah, it's not bad. I said, okay, what is good about it? What do you think is good? So then she said, you know, the print is actually not that big that I thought it was. And she's also a relatively tiny individual. She's more petite.
And she's calling herself fat.
Because see, petite is through height and weight is through width. Okay. So yes, she does have, you know, a relatively slightly wider body structure, but you can't say you can't use these very condescending words for yourself.
For yourself, yeah.
Fat, ugly. How do you define it? No, you're broad-boned in this area for yourself, and that's okay. Do you look horrible? She catastrophizes how she looks.
And that affects your internal mental state, and then you keep feeling that way.
Because you're constantly in a state of nothing's good for me.
Good.
And anyone compliments you, I say, Aleena, this jacket looks good on you. And I'm like, no, yeah, just happened by fluke. You chose it in the morning, say, thank you. Ended there. People don't know how to receive compliments because of that.
Yeah, they don't.
So this is how I work with the way they think and then the way they look. Today, she bought the dress. She loved it. And she has worn it, I can't tell you how many times. It's her display picture and I don't know what all. And if she's seeing this video, she's going to kill me for using her example. But
nobody will know who it is. It's fine.
Yeah, but you know, it's funny because she loves the dress. She's like, I would never pick this up. Just because of inhibitions. Just because she read it at some blog somewhere back in the day that petite people should not wear large prints. You should not wear things that are too contrasting because, you know, it had a dual tone and things like that. She loves the dress and not only does she love the dress, when she's worn it, she feels good in it. She feels confident in it. And when she feels that, she's obviously having a bright smile, she's having bright eyes, she's walking with her chest up. So the body language also went into it.
Right.
And then when she's interacting and talking to people, she has that inherent confidence that I know I look good. Simple thing, it was just a dress. So dressing is just a tool. I just use an external tool.
Yeah, right. I
to
remember you gave
support.
me a great example when I was asking you, and I asked you a lot of counter questions of why you're saying something. And I said, no, but why should I wear like this and why should I do like this? And I remember you said that when you go to the gym, what do you wear? You wear something that is more fitting and tight, right? And then why don't you wear a pajama to work? No, because when you dress up for work, you're going to feel different. And honestly, when as somebody who works from home a lot also, when I work in pajamas, I can now tell the difference that, oh, I am feeling much lazier if I'm wearing a pajama versus if I wore pants or if I wore whatever,
Even
jeans,
cotton trousers.
even whatever, that actually made a difference. I did more work and I did it more seriously.
Yeah.
And it's just that, like, how I didn't know, I think a lot of people don't know.
Actually, a lot of people don't realize
Clear.
that it can make a huge difference. I've had like homemakers who come and say, my kids don't listen to me, they only listen to their dad. But it's not like I don't work, I don't do. I said, what do you wear at home?
Did you ask them to change their outfits?
Yeah, because obviously you're wearing a nightie, your kid is constantly seeing you in a nightie day in and day out.
Oh.
They are constantly looking at nightie. Nighties want to sleep. So you are behaving like a nightie. You're always having that amboda on you. You're always having a distressed look on you. But you've had a bath. Change your clothes. Why are you back in the nightie?
Right.
It's like you're wearing from nightie to nightie. And then suddenly when you have to go out, you suddenly glam up and the kid is like, whoa, what happened?
Where are you
Mom?
going?
Yeah, where are you going? Nothing, I'm just going out here.
Right.
So, you have casual, wear a t-shirt, wear track pants, shift your look, let your kid see something beyond that nightwear. And this was an experiment. I did this at one of the start and she really came mind blown. She's like,
It is mind
my
blowing.
kid actually did homework with me properly. Like that's what she
Really?
did. Yeah, because obviously, your body language is only so different. When you wear heels and when you wear flats, you
I
see
can
how
see
where
the
your
difference.
legs go.
Yeah.
That's
You feel the
it.
difference.
Yeah.
Everybody feels that they are fine, and what is therapy and why do I need it? That's
Yeah.
a large part of our population, and even the people you might think are open to it, you will, when you speak to them, you will be like, but I don't need anything. This is normal life problem. Ye to aata hai, jata hai, right?
Yeah.
And so, how do you get yourself to actually go to therapy? Like, okay, I have a problem, and how big should the problem be, in fact, that I have to come to a therapist? How do you know that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'll answer the second one first. How do you know when is the right time to get therapy? If you're feeling odd, if you're feeling uneasy, if you're feeling like this has been happening to you day after day, week after week. I'm not saying one day I'm like, oh my God, I'm very anxious today, I need a therapist.
Okay.
No. Give yourself that time. Give yourself a week. This feeling is recurring. It's something that constantly makes you feel uneasy, queasy in the stomach, palpitations. That's one way of it. Wherein you may not have a problem
Right.
as such, but you're uneasy about it. Your body starts to show signs in these silent ways when your subconscious and the back of your head is completely jammed.
Okay.
It's like a drain in your shower area. Okay, when it's clogged, the water will start to come out. Slowly, water will go from it, but it'll take time. That's what symptoms of all of these, like breathlessness, uneasiness, constipation, loose motions, excessive of all of this, sweaty palms, sweaty underarms, sleepless nights, all of these are just silent communicators that, boss, there's something off. And you
Okay.
really need to vomit it out somewhere, somehow.
Okay.
That filter needs to be cleaned. You've been soaking in a lot, you need to be squeezed out now a little bit. So in such a situation, someone will come and say, you know what, I'm just off. I don't know what is the problem.
Okay.
My job is okay. My home is okay. I'm getting paid is fine. I'm healthy. But I just don't know what's wrong.
So usually what is wrong?
A lot of their internal beliefs, grudges,
Okay.
Your home is okay because every day you go home, you eat, you talk 5 sentences and go to sleep.
Okay.
That's not okay. That there's a problem. You need to talk more than 5 sentences at home. You need to have a happy, fulfilled family life as well, right? You go to work. Do you engage with people? नहीं, मैं काम से काम रखता हूँ. That's not cool. You're a social human being. काम से काम नहीं होता है. Like with some people in your life, काम से काम is okay because you don't get along with them. That's fine. But if you're just a person who's constantly in this point to point,
Yeah, just existing.
You're surviving, you're not
You're
thriving.
not internally happy then.
Yeah. They don't even understand what happiness is. This is happiness. Yeah, I'm good.
Life is good.
Tick, 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 tick. But then you're still uneasy.
And then it builds up.
It builds up. So, what is it that bothers you? Something from your childhood, something that didn't happen for you, something that you're like, ठीक है नहीं हुआ छोड़ दो. That छोड़ दो करके ना, we throw a lot under the carpet. And then one fine day, somebody comes and stamps on the carpet and all your kachra comes out. That's the day when your roof falls. That's the day when you start feeling very anxious. So you're in line for a promotion, but you somehow know that you've not done something and maybe it's going to be off your thing. So you've started palpitating 1 month in advance. But you're like, it's okay now, like, it's fine. It's 1 month in advance. Why should I worry about it now? You are worrying about it. By you just saying, I'm not worried, doesn't make you not worry.
Right.
So we are living in this conversations of contradictions. A lot of times. I'm relaxed. I'm chilled. Sweaty palms, but I'm still relaxed. I'm not scared. Who said I'm scared? Very scared. It's okay to say you're scared. So, and the reason is that because people have this belief that log kya kahenge.
Right, that's the biggest problem.
Biggest problem. And my only response back is log wahi kahenge jo aap logo ko, like what you will only tell people about you. So today if I am going to be like, listen Aleena, I don't think I can speak, I'm not a good speaker. Aleena will believe that I'm not a good speaker. Because that's what Aleena knows of me. Remember what you said earlier? You told me about how you wanted to be perceived, and so I gave you a recommendation on that.
Right.
Now, if you told me 5 different adjectives, I would have given you on that.
But doesn't that happen in therapy? I've noticed that people don't get help in therapy and say that, oh, it's not helped me. And then if I talk to them, I realize that because you're judging yourself so much, you're not even honest with the therapist.
Yeah, I waste so many sessions sometimes with somebody. I'm
like giving you wrong information because they want to be perceived as something.
Correct.
Like I don't want you to think wrong about me, and so I'll say something else.
So, which is why, especially with my younger audience, okay, like in their like teens or 20s or really elderly audience, I first tell them that I'm here to help you.
Right.
I'm here to just listen to you as a friend. I'm not gonna judge you. Who the hell am I to judge you? Is what I say.
Okay.
Because really, who the hell am I to judge you? You're sitting there vulnerable straight up in front of me. You're putting your entire life in front of me. Why the hell will I judge you? Mera kya hai lena dena? I'm here to just remove the knots, to help you out. And if I can't do that, then shame on me. I shouldn't be in this profession. And after a point, you will realize I'm judging you and you will leave.
Right. The people that I have met before, and I always try and test the waters before because I have trust issues, so I find it difficult to open up. And so when I speak to other therapists, even as work front, maybe not talking to them on a personal level, I realize that because they have so many of their own belief systems that are so strong, especially in the Indian society where we come from, right? So for example, they will say, oh, you are a woman, so then this is the right thing for you to do. Based on that, right? They'll be like, oh, but you have to, for example, you have to kind of manage home, you kind of have to manage children, then your work has to take a back seat. Like they'll be like, you have to accept the fact that, you can't balance both and all of that, which is not always the right answer that you can give to everybody all the time, right? I believe it's person to person.
It's not a crossing.
But then the thing is that if the therapists themselves are like that, where the hell does the normal person go and solve their problems?
Exactly.
And how do we even know and how do we even trust? Because I know a lot of people who have not taken therapy further because of these experiences?
I know this is actually a loop, Aleena, and it's something that I saw in one of your first few episodes, that when you were talking to the two influencers, and you were saying about buying followers, that bit of it. It's a very similar thing here, wherein this is our occupational hazard as therapists or even as image consultants, wherein a lot of times I've had a client who's literally come to me and she said that, I didn't approach you because I thought you were expensive.
Yes.
And that's a myth, really, but and then I went to another person who was technically way more expensive than me.
Okay.
And she's like, I went to her, I did all of those things, and today I have my wardrobe with clothes that just aren't me. I went personal shopping with her and my clothes are just not me. So I spent a lot of money buying clothes, spending it on consulting to just have a wardrobe that's not me.
Right.
So now I'm coming to you and you see my wardrobe and I'm like, okay, and I kid you not, I opened her wardrobe and I asked her, I said, did you by any chance consult this person?
Oh,
like,
God.
it became so obvious. it became so, because, she was going to give me all, so I was like trying to fit the puzzle, and then when I saw the clothes, the
You knew
aesthetics
who
of
it
it,
was.
I was like, that's the one. And then she was like, yeah. I'm like, sorry, I just know. Because, in our institute also, we're taught that you can't put your personal style onto a client.
Correct.
Just because I dress in a feminine way, my client wants to dress in a sporty format.
Correct.
Let her dress. No, I think that looks ugly. That doesn't look dainty. Who the hell again am I to say that?
Right.
Just be objective. So I think as a consultant in any line of work, we have to put our own beliefs in the pocket.
Right.
And just work on a very objective, rational format. You may not agree with it. Like, many a times I've told you as well, I may not agree with it. But it's not my life, it's Aleena's life.
Right.
And it's about Aleena. So I have to think what's good for Aleena.
And since you deal with so much, as a normal person who's not a therapist, when somebody tells me a lot of and a lot of people come to me with a lot of, not in the same way obviously, but they come to me and they went and they rant and they tell me about their life problems and I listen to them, it gets very heavy for me. I don't say it to them, obviously.
Yeah,
but because you're listening to so many people, sometimes it becomes too much for me to take in as a person. I always wonder, how do therapists then detach themselves from another person's problem?
So earlier on, my early start of the practice, I used to really think oh, poor thing, this, that. But then I'm like, everyone has a battle. Aleena, I hear so many stories each day, day after day, day after day, day after day. And these are from privileged people who have problems. There are a lot of people who I work with in NGOs who don't have money, people, clothes,
Safety.
and sometimes food and safety. This is your basics. Most people that sign up on my website and come to me have all of this and beyond.
Right.
Now, if I have to start feeling bad for everyone, then I will not be able to help them.
Right, you can't. But
You
how
can't.
do you not feel bad?
I understand them. I don't feel bad for you. I try to understand your situation and I try to help you feel better in your situation. I hope that it never happens to you again. I hope that you get better out of it. But I can't change the fact that it has happened to you. Right? Now, if I look at you and say, I'm so sorry, Aleena. I'm so sorry for what you're going through. Aleena is going to have no faith and confidence that her life is going to get better. So the minute I become a bichari face, Aleena will become even more bichari. I can't help you, then. So what I do to detach, I meditate for sure.
Okay.
Every day I meditate.
Okay.
I also have a teacher who helps me meditate on twice a week. So I do guided with her and then I do otherwise my own.
Okay.
I do my workouts, my yoga and all of that. My dogs have been my great therapy. Like I play with them, I interact with them, I do all of that. I paint, I
Nice.
play the piano,
Nice.
I do cross stitch.
But
These are
do
my
you
ways.
also
Gig.
take therapy?
Of course I do.
Okay.
I absolutely do. And I mean, see, today obviously
I
I'm
feel
not
like
in recurring
therapists
therapy.
should be taking therapy, right?
Of course.
Yeah, because you're
of
listening to so much,
course.
you're taking in so much. Where you
But you don't speak, I don't speak about my clients in my therapy.
Of course.
I speak about my
Yeah.
own challenges if and when they do happen. Like, see, I don't take therapy consecutively like
Right.
my clients do. But when I am going through something that I know I am not I don't self-medicate. Let's put
Right.
it this way.
Right.
For example, I do meditations for my clients, but I still have a teacher, no, for myself. So I know that I can do it, but a boss also needs a boss at some point, right? So I feel good when my teacher kind of guides me, trains me on the same. At the same time, my teacher, who is also my therapist, and these are different teachers, but she's been my teacher, but she's also a therapist to me. I go to her when I'm really in the dumps of my brain, wherein I have surrendered to not understand my rational brain. See, as a person also, I have rationalized. Because that's become my second nature now. I'm not going for the basics. I'm not going for elementary stuff. I'm going for the intermediates. But I still go. I don't go and say that, oh, I will journal it out and I will let
I
it be.
was just gonna ask you that as a therapist, and my understanding of it would be that since you understand these things, since you understand, you actually solve other people's problems, you understand human psychology and all of those things, does it become easier for you to solve your own problems?
Yes, sometimes yes.
Okay.
But a person, like a hairstylist cannot cut their own hair.
Okay.
A person who does eyebrow threading cannot thread their own eyebrows. Same way, after a point, like you can do the right eye or you can do the right side or you can do the left side and the left thing. If you're a righty, you can't, you won't be able
You'll
to do
struggle,
it. You'll
yeah.
struggle. Same way, I can do it for some aspects of my life. And then there are some aspects I also need help.
Yeah.
So I go. I do know that there are people who say, "Arey, why do you need to go if you know it all?" I don't know it all. Who said I know it all? I don't know it all.
Okay.
There are moments I have told my clients also, honestly, in this situation, I have no advice for you beyond this point. So I am not faking it till I'm making it in any case, because I'm dealing here with people's heads and hearts.
Yeah, which is very complicated.
And is very sensitive.
Right.
So I'm not claiming here to anybody at all. I know it all. My thing is the last word. No. Even after my session, you think about your life and your objectivity, and then you take your decisions, is what I'd always put it to people.
Can you tell me what has been the one biggest problem that most people feel? Since you speak to so many different people, maybe like a common thing that most people are struggling with.
How they talk to one another.
Really? That basic?
Yeah, that's
Is that a big problem?
It's a very big problem. Communication is the ultimate problem, because it's like I am talking the way I understand, you are listening to the way you
I want to
understand.
right.
So we are having 4 conversations right here. So, and communication is your key to every relationship. Whether it's a colleague, whether it's your mother, father, whether it's your sibling, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your boyfriend, girlfriend, communication. People choose to over-communicate, under-communicate, not communicate, communicate badly, communicate passively, passive-aggressively, completely aggressively.
And so all of the problems are stemming from these things.
By and large, mostly because everyone coming is saying, this person did this to me. But the true fact is, you felt bad when they did this.
Okay.
Okay? So, you felt bad. So, tell them you felt bad. No, why should I tell them? I don't want to tell them.
Okay.
Then comes the ego. So, but ego is not the problem.
Okay.
The main crux comes from, I don't want to tell this person, I don't want to communicate, because if I communicate, I'll feel less, I'll feel low, I'll feel like a loser, I'll feel like this, I'll feel like that. If I tell my boss this, how can I tell my boss? He's my boss, she's my boss, they are my senior. Basically, no one wants to talk, but they have challenges on how to talk.
Okay.
And a lot of times, relationship is the main issue that a lot of people face.
Right.
Personal, professional, anything is today relationships.
Right.
So communication and relationships are husband-wife. They cannot do without each other. You cannot have a relationship without communication, and to communicate, you need to have a relationship with, whether it's a basic one or a serious one. So a lot of people, they don't wish to talk it out. They don't wish to share their real feelings.
They also don't know how to do it in the right way. We are not taught about how to
we
do
are
it.
not. We are never taught about the right way. Forget the right way sometimes.
You just need to
do
talk.
it. Like the Murphy's Law, okay? I think it's the Murphy's Law. Yeah, it is the Murphy's Law. It's basically people say that, oh, I don't have enough time to do it. I didn't get the time to express. Okay? Or some people have too much time. So they're like, ठीक है, बाद में कर देंगे.
Okay.
So here the law says that you work within the time that you have. If you have 10 days to express your love for somebody, or 10 days to submit a project to your boss, or whatever it is, you say, I have 10 days, I'll chill now, I'll do it later, I'll do it. What happens in that? You are taking it for granted. Then it just builds and builds and builds. And then you come to the 9th day and then you're like, oh my God. And then you finally have 1 day. What you could have done, in 10 days could have been more elaborate, could have been more well thought of, could have been more expressive, could have been high on intensity. Like, for example, if you want to express your love, you can write a poem, write a letter, do a big grand gesture, or simply just talk to them, or whatever is authentic to you. You have 10 days of trial. But when you come down to that 1 day, what will you finally do? Jak maar ke you'll do what you have to do.
Okay.
Not what you want to do, not what you desire to do.
Right.
Ever had those things? Arey, I wanted to do this for her or him.
Yeah, I do that.
But it never happened. Why? Because you were wanting and wanting and wanting. You were just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Sometimes it's just about doing things. Pick up the phone, call the person, write the email, express the thought. But people don't want to do it. They spend so much more time dissecting every singular emotion. But why did he say this to me? He said it in this tone. She meant that.
But overthinking
Why
is
did?
such a big problem. I have seen so many people around me constantly
100%.
overthink. And you don't know where to stop. As in, when I ask them, why are you making so many things up in your head?
Yeah, that's because people don't know what is a fact and what is a feeling.
Okay.
When you start on this loop, okay, snap and say, okay, is this a fact or is this a feeling?
And so what do you do if it is a fact or if it is a feeling?
Okay, if it is a fact, then confront the fact, no?
Okay.
The person is rude to me. Tell that person he's rude.
Okay.
You are rude to me. I'm telling all of them. She's rude to me. Aleena ko pata hi nahi. How will Aleena work on herself? How will I improve my relationship with Aleena? My problem is with her, but I'm telling the whole village my problem is with her. That becomes a problem in itself. You had one problem which could be resolved through communication. But you didn't decide on doing it, so you decided on communicating with everybody else in the village. And then all of them had their own communications with Aleena. And then Aleena started to think, what about Benaisha? That became another problem. So we just started to create a lot more problems.
I do have a question that I think a lot of our audiences would mostly relate to, okay? And a big problem, I learned to solve it through the years, okay? But somebody young watching this, they are always constant because of social media. You're constantly comparing yourself to other people and their lives, because of which they go through a lot of internal problems and go through a lot of feelings and emotions that they then eventually can't handle, and then it becomes bigger and all of those things happen. How do you tell that 14-year-old that your problem, half of your problem is because you're watching Instagram and thinking that other people have the perfect life?
So, fun fact is, even I have that problem.
Okay.
And sometimes, to be very candid and honest, I still have that problem.
Okay.
So while I do know what you should do and should not do, it's a very natural phenomena that happens to all of us, considering we are living in this very comparative bubble of Instagram and just the likes of it. So what I personally do, and that's how I kind of cope up, and the same advice I kind of give to my clients, especially to the younger ones, is that we cannot judge a fish's ability to climb a tree, right? So think of all the things that that person who you are in awe of is doing. So for example, if I'm like, oh my God, look at Aleena's Instagram game, like it's so amazing, and look where I am and what am I doing, right? Okay, what has Aleena done? What does Aleena do? If I'm in such awe of her, I write to Aleena. Hey Aleena, I love what you do. Just really inspired to know, how do you do what you do? First, break that inhibition. Don't be jealous of the person. Be open and to ask the person that I admire your work and I want to do something like what you do. Okay, that's the first feeling, because otherwise, firstly, you start feeling jealous. So instead of feeling jealous, remember that you're admiring them. So respect them. Reach out if you can and if you'd like to, and go ahead with that. If you don't reach out, you make a list on your own to say that, what do you think Aleena must be doing? Aleena writes scripts, Aleena shoots herself, she, sits and edits it, she sits and writes captions, puts it up, she does all of that. From all of these things, what is it that I'm not doing? Yeah, I'm not doing this, I'm not consistent on my videos, I'm not consistent with my shoots, I'm not consistent. So that gets highlighted, I'm not consistent. So obviously, if I'm not consistent and Aleena is consistent, that is a gap. It's going to be a gap. Now, this could be about posting and frequency and followers and all of that. In another case scenario, it could be like, oh my God, she's living the best life. She's always on holidays. She's always on this. She has the best everything and I don't have anything. Okay, you want them. What are you doing about it? Like, you say you want to be able to go on a holiday whenever you want. Just like this person.
Yes.
Right.
Don't we all?
Yeah, don't we all? Right? Okay. So, are you working to fund yourself? Are you saving up that kind of money? Making the money, saving up the money, planning the holiday? Can you at least start small by going to other places and not directly like a European holiday or an American holiday? Like, can you start with your own vicinity? Yeah, but what fun is then going to Lonavala? I want to go to London. It's okay, yeah. Start with Lonavala.
Yeah, right.
It's not a bad thing. I think the minute you normalize for yourself your reality and understand that I don't need to be living a lifestyle of this particular blogger or this influencer, she or he may have the means, the ability and the knowledge to get what they are doing. So for example, I read these comments on some of these blogger pages that, oh, your daddy must have given you money. No.
Everywhere.
Daddy is not given money. Maybe she's getting it on her own. Maybe she's doing something on her own. Now, why do people comment like that? Because they're jealous. So that jealousy, needs to change. Then the comparison will lower. Then they will move into compassion. So when somebody is constantly telling me that I am I'm never going to make it. I don't know how to do it. I'm telling them that, boss, you're throwing a pity party for yourself. And a pity party, no one wants to show up for that party because it's sad. But if you want to throw a positive party, I'll come for it. Everyone will come for it. So if you're putting it out there, you're putting your most vulnerable self out there, and you're telling people that, yeah, I'm having a bad day. Can you help me cheer up? Or I don't know how to achieve this. Can you show me? Can you guide me? Ask for help. Most people who are in this comparative state of mind refuse to ask for help. Okay. They want to sit in the corner and just scream, oh yeah, she's like this. Oh, like currently, the hate's on what? Who's going for this wedding and that wedding without saying any names, right? She got invited, he got invited, this one got invited. It's okay. It's fine.
I feel like it comes with we're talking with experience.
Yeah.
But you ask somebody, ask a young girl, they will not be able to define all of this because they've not seen that much.
You know why they feel so much more pressure, Aleena, is because their friends around them are constantly in the same rat race.
And they don't even know that that friend is doing the same thing.
And they feel that pressuring one another is the best way to be on top. Isko dabao, usko dabao, isko dabao.
Right.
So it's just a power game at that time only. When you start to grow up, then you're just like, I don't want to have power. Please go. You take it and go.
Do your own thing.
You do your own thing.
Then you stop comparing. So that's why I wanted you to kind of, because you're a professional, you've been through all of this. Also, more importantly, you've worked with so many people who are so vulnerable to you. And so that kind of helps us to get a better idea of how to deal with these things. Because I do speak to a lot of people on mental health, and they obviously give their perspective and all, but you can't give professional advice. I know right now also you've not given professional advice because it's case to case basis, but to get an overall understanding of these kind of topics is something I think best you would have broken down, and I think you have already. So thank you so much, Benaisha, for doing this and for doing this for our audiences also. And yeah, I had great time. I know we had a long conversation.
I spoke a lot.
No, but it is. I remember Nikhil Taneja, he was also talking to me about mental health, and he said to me that, you know, these people who go like 5 things you should do and 3 things you should do, he's like, I can never do it. Because there's so much to like say, you can't jot it down.
Sometimes, Aleena, so I did this, so I do these reels sometimes, 7 things you can, I'm like, bullshit.
How do you fit in?
You can't do 7 things.
Not for what you're doing.
Yeah, but you know, the thing is, I have made some reels like that. And then I realize when I'm scripting it,
but there's
so much more. And there's so many clauses.
Right.
But you know, today, unfortunately, the system, our audience, everyone wants a quick fix.
Right.
Jaldi batao kaise hoga? I'm like, nahi hoga jaldi.
It doesn't.
How do I get over this guy? How do I get over this like, really?
Time.
Do you really want 7 steps to get over a breakup? Are you really asking me for that? I wish I knew. I don't know.
No,
so if you have a therapist who does know, get me also in touch.
Who doesn't? No, it doesn't. Such topics you can't. Like, I can tell you, okay, 5 ways to quickly grow on Instagram, but you will never be able to tell 5 life hacks on.
But see, even your 5 ways to grow on Instagram, they're all very relative.
Yeah.
I'll do it. And then Aleena didn't work.
But this didn't happen, but that didn't happen. But you had to post that also, but then you had to be available then also. Yeah, so and you had to reply to comments also.
There's so many permutations, and if it doesn't come to you naturally, it's exhausting.
Exactly, which is why I had to get you on board and do this whole conversation. And it's going to be long, but I'm sure people are going to get great insight out of it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Aleena.
Thank you guys so much for watching another episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you liked this, please subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you have any questions for me and Benaisha, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much. See you next time.